Did you think building muscle and getting jacked was going to be easy if you just had the right knowledge? Because I did. And when I first started working out, I thought if I gathered enough information, what the most effective exercises were to build muscle, which foods are best to eat, and which specific workout split to follow, that I would just lock in for a few months and get jacked so much quicker than everyone else. But after more than 10 years of lifting, I can go ahead and tell you that that's so far from the truth. I wasted a lot of that time doing the exact stuff you're probably doing right now, and wondered why I still look small and not like the fitness influencers that I take advice from. So the goal of this video is to share my 5 best pieces of actionable advice so you can make changes in your life and not waste years like I did. I make videos for the person who is overwhelmed with all the fitness industry noise and just wants a simple plan to follow without dedicating their life to the gym. People are tired of all the sciencey overcomplication of training, and I promise you, if you follow what I teach, it's going to help you. I remember this one night so well, being skinny, staring up at my ceiling and thinking, I've built up so much knowledge and fitness now, why can't I just apply myself and use it? That's when I realized even though I knew the exact exercises I needed to do, how they benefited my body, it wasn't enough because after 7 years, I barely looked like I even lifted. So let's jump into the 5 lessons. Lesson 1, you could have the most insane plan, Ronnie Coleman level, every set, rep, and meal mapped out to the letter. But none of it matters the second your alarm goes off at 5 a.m. and your body is sore and it's begging you to keep your eyes shut and stay in the sheets, because no one has control over their thoughts, feelings, and emotions. The only thing we can control is our actions, regardless of how we feel in the moment. That's the part that almost nobody tells you. You don't wait for the feeling of resistance to disappear. It never does. The voice telling you to stay in bed will never go away, but as you change your actions, you get to choose how loud it really is. You never stopped getting results because you weren't doing some S tier exercise from a tier list that stretched the muscle in the perfect lengthened position. No offense to Jeff Nippard, but that just doesn't happen. You stopped getting results the morning that you let a feeling make the decision that your actions were supposed to make. I'm here to tell you that done is better than none. A workout done sore, rushed, and with only half of your focus still beats the one that only existed in your head. For me, that meant I would wake up at 5 a.m. every weekday before anyone else was awake. Some days I'd train for an hour, some days 20 minutes before work, but I built my physique around the lifts that actually moved the needle. Squats, bench, pull-ups, rows. Nothing fancy, but I trained heavy compound movements consistently. That's it. Set a time that you will go and show up whether you feel like it or not. Lesson 2. What I've learned over the years is there are moments in your day, like when you are driving to work or scrolling social media in bed, and you're listening to a fitness video thinking, I'm being productive right now. But productivity is the act of creating a product through taking action, the right kind of action. And usually there are 1 or 2 actions that you must do consistently that will drive the result that you want. You know, you can do a lot of things in a day and be busy, but in the last 24 hours, how many actions have you taken to get you in better shape? If the answer is close to 0, then here are the 3 actions I want you to focus on from now on. Work out, eat, sleep. And yes, sleep is an action. So have a plan. Pick a bedtime that works for you and commit to it. For me, I chose 9 p.m. because it gives me just enough time to wind down before waking up at 5 a.m. the next morning. For eating, know which meals you will eat and when. Personally, it was 8 eggs every morning cooked in grass-fed butter with some avocado and sourdough toast. For working out, I follow a push-pull leg split with some accessory exercises. Lesson 3. Think about the last time you looked in the mirror and didn't like what you saw looking back at you. In that moment, your brain will tell you things like, it's not my fault, I don't have the same metabolism as other guys, or I don't have the time to train, I don't have the discipline I used to have back in school. And for a second, that voice feels like relief, like a huge weight lifted off your chest. But in that exact moment, you're handing over the one thing that was ever going to save you, the pen. The pen that wrote your last chapter is going to be the same one that writes the next one. And you get to choose whose hand it lands in your genetics, in your schedule, in your metabolism, in whatever it is that isn't you. Because if it's not your fault, then it's not your job to fix it. And now you're just waiting for motivation that isn't coming. And I know because I've lived in that frustrating waiting room. And the day anything changed wasn't the day I found the perfect program or the extra hour in my schedule. It was the day I picked the pen back up and admitted, this one's on me, not my genetics, not my schedule, me. That's the whole shift. Not motivation, not more time, just refusing to hand the pen to anything but yourself. Lesson 4. Scroll for just 10 minutes and you'll see it. The before and after. The 6 months later guy. The guy who looked like you in January, now looking like a completely different person. The problem is that nobody shows you the part in between. Nobody posts the video of themselves sore for the 3rd day in a row, barely able to lift their arms to wash their hair. Nobody posts the meal they spent an hour forcing down at 9 p.m. Nobody posts the moment they stood in front of the mirror at week 6 and saw basically nothing. So you start to believe something is wrong with you. But listen, that awkward, uncomfortable, doubt-filled middle, the one nobody films, isn't the obstacle standing between you and the body you want. It is the process building it. Every rep done sore, every meal eaten without motivation, every week that looks identical to the last one on the outside is exactly what becoming that person actually looks like, because you can't see the mountain that is compounding on the inside. For me, I was always growing the most in the winter months when I could throw on an oversized hoodie, put my headphones on, and just block out everyone else. And of course, train as hard as I possibly could. Lesson 5. I believe in millions of universes happening all at once. And somewhere out there exists a version of you who trained hard enough, long enough, consistently enough to actually uncover what his body was capable of. That guy has better genetics than the one inspiring you right now on this screen. And guess what? You might never meet him because you've never given him the shot. I hear it all the time. I don't have the genetics. So I look closer at the training, the consistency, the actual effort sitting behind that sentence. And there isn't any. No real attempt buried under bad genetics. You could be sitting there right now, fat or skinny with zero muscle to your name, with no idea that underneath it is the exact frame, the exact insertions, the exact potential you've spent years now convincing yourself you don't have. I said the same thing once. I used to blame my metabolism for not being able to put on weight. I used to blame my frame for not being able to build muscle quickly and have it look good. Anything that wasn't the truth. But then I stopped taking shortcuts and I actually committed. I committed to the same lifts, the same effort, the same intensity week after week until I finally found him. The guy I'd been blaming genetics for not becoming. He was there the whole time, just waiting on the work. Now, if you feel like you have a lot of that knowledge, but you've just been struggling with implementing it into your life and you want my help, there's a link in the top of the description. Click on that. Love you guys. Talk to you in the next one.